So you're driving along the road, maybe going to see friends or family, and suddenly in your rearview mirror you see those flashing lights. You're getting pulled over by a cop. You're angry, you're frustrated, you panic. Well, after 25 years as a lawyer and as a law professor, I can tell you that what you do next is going to determine if you drive away freely or if you're taken away in handcuffs. First, pull over immediately. Don't keep driving, even for a short distance. That's going to raise a red flag to the officers. They're going to get suspicious of you, and it's not going to turn out well for you. Next, when you do get pulled over and the officer approaches you, be nice, be cooperative, be friendly. Don't start yelling at the officer, I didn't do anything. Why did you pull me over? This is wrong. Well, that may well be true, but first impressions matter. And if you act like that, the officer isn't going to want to be lenient with you. The officer isn't going to want to give you the benefit of the doubt. You're going to get in more trouble than you otherwise should have been because you were not nice at the outset. Next, don't consent to a search. You have Fourth Amendment rights under the United States Constitution. Okay? Law enforcement officers just can't search every part of your car and person. Now, exceptions do apply, but generally they can't do so unless you consent. When you consent, you waive all of your Fourth Amendment protections, and then you have no basis to challenge the legality of a search. Next, do not be a roadside constitutional lawyer, and I say this especially for those first-year law students or undergrads who took law courses. So many individuals who get pulled over think they know the Constitution, they know the Fourth Amendment, all of its exceptions, such that they can challenge the officer. More often than not, they don't, and they come off looking ignorant, combative, and again, not nice. And when you do that, law enforcement doesn't want to work with you. They want to find something to cite you for. So, don't think you're a roadside constitutional lawyer. Instead, be cooperative and things will work out far better for you. Next, if they tell you to get out of the car, get out of the car. Don't sit there and say, nope, I'm not getting out of the car. You haven't given me a reason to get out of the car, and I'm just not doing it. Well, then you're disobeying an order from law enforcement. You can get nailed for resisting arrest, but more fundamentally, they're just not going to like you. They're not going to want to be nice to you. And eventually, they're going to get you out of the car. And you're going to be in a situation far worse than what you otherwise would have been in if you had just said, okay. Be nice, be cooperative, be friendly. Next, don't confuse politeness with consent. You can be polite and cooperative with the officer, but you don't have to consent to a Fourth Amendment search. You don't have to answer yes to every question they ask. So being polite just means being friendly, being cooperative, being easy to deal with. Again, that's what helps you give the impression to officers that you're someone who they want to give a break to. But that doesn't mean you have to consent to a search. That doesn't mean you have to say yes if they ask you, did you do this or do that? So remember, politeness is one thing, consent is another. Next, can you record the conversation with your cell phone? Technically, sure, you can record the conversation with your cell phone, but think about it. If it's an ordinary stop, shoving a cell phone into an officer's face doesn't really create a great impression. It shows that you're watching their every move, looking for anything you can to find something wrong with what they did, and that creates an adversarial relationship rather than a cooperative and collaborative one. So, yeah, you can use your cell phone, but be careful. Sometimes it's not necessary, and sometimes being cooperative and being honest goes much farther than using a cell phone that pisses off the officers and creates a situation that's far worse than it would have been. Now, speaking of cell phones, can law enforcement search your cell phone? The answer is generally no. even if you're arrested, they have to have a warrant before they can search your cell phone. So don't readily give up the contents of your cell phone, just like you shouldn't consent to a search of your vehicle. If you do, they will often find evidence of criminality that they wouldn't have otherwise found, and then you are stuck and have no ability to challenge that search under the Fourth Amendment because you waived it. Next, ask the officers in a nice way, am I free to go? That's going to tell you exactly where you stand with the officers, especially if they start asking you questions, trying to fish for information to develop some suspicion that you've engaged in criminality. If they don't have it, okay, after they've cited you for whatever infraction you've committed, such as speeding or not putting on your blinker, ask if you're free to go. And if they say yes, go. Okay? Next, don't lie when silence will do. If law enforcement is asking you questions, it's okay to say, I don't recall. I don't remember. That doesn't mean you're being a jerk. Don't feel the need to admit to certain things or deny certain things if you're not sure of it. Because what you wind up doing is incriminating yourself or contradicting yourself in a lie. If you don't remember, or if you just don't want to answer, don't answer. That's your right. Next, don't involve passengers in your car if there are passengers. First of all, law enforcement often doesn't want to hear from the passengers. And even if they do, guess what? The passengers in your car are probably going to say something different than you have said, and that's going to lead to inconsistent statements and more suspicion. So when you get pulled over, make sure that you do these things, but remember, the most important thing is the first impression. The first 60 seconds after you get pulled over. You pulled over immediately, and then the first words that the officer speaks to you, are you nice? Are you friendly? Are you cooperative? Do you get out of the car if they ask you to? That goes a long way. Because remember, even if you get cited for something, or even if you get arrested, especially if you're in, a local county where everyone knows each other, they will remember your behavior. And a prosecutor is going to be far more likely to plea bargain with you and give you a lesser offense and give you a break if you are known as someone who was cooperative and nice. I hope you liked this video. If you did, hit that like and subscribe button. We'll see you soon.